Hey guys, I'm back and all better, ready to talk about Batman Arkham Asylum 15 years later. This is the beginning of the highly acclaimed superhero series, Batman Arkham series, released in August of 2009, literally 2 months after I graduated high school. Okay, saying that out loud, that scares me. But it was a big surprise for many people, including me, because up until then, we didn't really have much to get excited about in terms of comic book video games. We had some fun superhero games like the ones from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, the second Spider-Man game in particular. Arkham Asylum comes along and it flips the script, leading us into the rest of the Arkham series, which spawned over the next several years, with Arkham City, Arkham Origins, yes, I'm including that too, and Arkham Knight. I've already talked about Arkham City and Arkham Origins. Arkham Knight I did a long time ago initially, but I'm gonna dive deeper into that next year when we hit the 10-year anniversary mark. There's really not a whole lot to spoil as far as its plot and characterizations. It's really focused on this one area, Arkham Island, where Batman has to stop the Joker's plot from unleashing an army of Titan thugs onto Gotham City. The game starts off with him taking the Joker into custody at Arkham Asylum, but with a sense looming in the air that something isn't right, where, as Batman says to Gordon, he surrendered without a fight. Something's up here. Then Joker flips the script and goes on the run across the island, while also releasing all of the inmates onto the island that are imprisoned there. And across the way, he runs into various supervillains that pop up, such as Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, Killer Croc, and the Riddler. Although from a different location with the Riddler at least. As I said, outside of all that, there's really not much depth given to the characters. There's a couple of moments here and there, mostly when Batman gets poisoned by Scarecrow's toxin, and we get flashbacks to the night that his parents were killed, which, as I've said before, is a crucial reminder of what Batman is all about, why Bruce Wayne does what he does. And this being the introduction of this interpretation of Batman, it's important for anyone who's new to the Batman mythos especially, to understand the psychology of the Dark Knight. Oh my god, I just remembered. Bane is in here too, as one of the big boss battles that you have to fight. So as it's revealed, the Joker wants to use this Titan formula that was created by Dr. Young, who was one of the staff members at Arkham Asylum. He finds a way to bribe her and get her to comply with his plans. Then she starts to back out, hence why the Joker was able to allow Batman to get him into Arkham Asylum so he could get his hands on the formula that she created to use it on his thugs and all the inmates at his disposal. He even uses it on some of the Arkham guards. The late Kevin Conroy voices Batman, along with Mark Hamill as the Joker. And to say that these guys are great in their parts, that's not exactly unheard of, but you have to acknowledge it at least once.
Seeing as how I'm feeling generous, I'll give you this one for free. Knock me off, I dare you. End this. Pull the plug. Stop me once and for all.
And Arlene Sorkin, who voices Harley Quinn in the animated series for Batman, returns in this game at least to voice the same character. I believe it was a different actress in the rest of the series, but I could be wrong. It's still Harley Quinn in all of her ugly, awful glory. I mean that in a good way. Well, I don't know. And other characters that show up in here, such as Commissioner Gordon, Aaron Cash, Victor Zsasz, as a brief appearance as a serial killer who at one point gets his hands on Dr. Young. You have to go to all these various areas to uncover the plan and get the formula to counteract the Titan formula, until eventually you fight the Joker in a big boss battle when he turns into the Abomination Joker by injecting himself with the formula. There's even a reference to the ventriloquist villain from the animated series, and I think he's also a thing in the comics too. He's also referenced in the Arkham Knight game, where we see the GCPD lockup as a way to tell the audience who Batman has fought over the years, in this universe at least. And with Edward Nygma's riddles, you also learn about the Ratcatcher, Great White Shark, and all these other various villains, along with Mr. Freeze and Penguin, who don't make an appearance in this game, and even Catwoman is brought up. But knowing that this takes place chronologically 5 years after the events of Arkham Origins, probably be fair to assume that he's encountered those guys at least once before in that 5-year time span. The gameplay is just like the other ones. You have combos, counters, you can upgrade your tech as you earn more points and find more Riddler trophies, using the remote control batarang, the grapnel boost. Well, no, actually not the grapnel boost. You can use your grapnel to get up to certain areas, but when you're in certain situations like the botanical gardens, you try to get yourself onto a ledge, but the ledges are too unstable and you gotta climb up the old-fashioned way. That part drives me crazy, and I still have to, every now and then when I play it, refer to the IGN walkthrough, especially when you have to find the Riddler secrets and trophies and so on. We even have interview tapes that reveal certain details about certain characters like the Riddler, or Harley Quinn, or the Joker, and even Victor Zsasz, who at one point tries to kill one of the doctors that was having sessions with him, but then you learn through a certain Easter egg detail in the sequel that Batman was able to save her from being killed by Victor Zsasz. And since I mentioned gameplay, the gameplay is more or less what you'd expect, as we've seen in the following games. It feels a lot more tame in comparison because I'm so spoiled by Arkham City and Arkham Knight and even Arkham Origins. You're able to hang from a gargoyle, drop down and snatch him up onto the ledge of that gargoyle, using counter moves when an enemy tries to land a hit on you, the cryptographic sequencer in order to gain entry to certain entry points, along with using the secrets of Arkham to learn certain things about Amadeus Arkham, who is revealed to be Quincy Sharp, the warden of Arkham Asylum, and then later becomes the mayor in the following sequel. We even hear Oracle guiding Batman through certain areas and keeping tabs on what's going on. Gameplay is really the biggest criticism I have, and maybe some of the mechanics as well. There's some screen tears that show up every now and then. Batman stiff walking looked awkward back then, and even now it still does. The in-game cutscenes where there's some bad lip syncing and dead eye movements going on, that to me feels really off. Arkham City suffers the same problem, but by the time Arkham Knight comes around, it's a lot better. And those Scarecrow dream sequences are really scary. In fact, when you play this around Halloween, it fits in just about right. And you gotta keep on your toes too, because if you end up in Scarecrow's eye line, game over. And you get this annoying cutscene that follows right afterward. Every time that pops up, I literally want to claw my eyes out. Same thing can be said when Riddler makes his annoying commentary as you find more trophies and secrets. And it gets even worse by the time Arkham Knight comes around. We get various boss battles like with Poison Ivy at the Botanical Gardens when she goes into this giant flower and you have to throw the Batarang at her every time her portal opens up while fighting her brainwashed thugs, which are the Arkham staff or the Joker's goons. But then there's one scenario where you gotta sneak past Killer Croc in the sewers in order to obtain the ingredients for this formula to counteract the Titan formula. Is if you walk on these walkways over the water, it sends the sound waves throughout the water and Killer Croc is able to spot you. Literally every time I play that sequence, I am on the edge of my seat. Then there's Bane's boss fight, which if you pay attention to the chronology of events, he knew who Batman was in Batman Arkham Origins, but when his Venom takes over and turns him into the big hulking freak that he's known for, somehow it wipes his memory. And if you go further with the data packs, it's established that the host does suffer from memory loss. So I guess that does count for something, but even then, it's still a slight plot hole on my end, but not too badly. That Bane boss fight took a while for me to get used to, because like with the Titan thugs, when he comes charging at you, you have to throw the Batarang at his head in order to cause him to get stunned, and then he runs into the wall, and then you can get a few hits in. While also fighting off the Joker's goons who come in and try to throw you off. That drives me freaking crazy. Then with the final boss battle is with the Joker when he injects himself with the Titan formula, turning into a giant abomination. That also was a little hard to get used to because you have to fight off all these goons and then he turns to the helicopter, tries to put on a show for the camera. Then with your cable, you have to yank him down and get a hit in. And then Batman uses the explosive gel in his hand to punch him, exploding the gel into his face, causing him to go back to normal form. And as the story wraps up, Commissioner Gordon notes how much pain it can cause in certain hosts, particularly with the Joker. Knowing how certain things turn out in the long run in the series afterward hits a little differently, that's for sure. But also when Batman takes a little bit of the formula to protect Commissioner Gordon, he almost turns into a Titan freak, but he manages to suppress it and give himself an antidote. But I do wonder if some of that was still hanging around in there somewhere, especially in light of Arkham Knight. But we'll get to that later. It also behooved me to mention the game design. The way Arkham Island looks, this feels like it's literally thrashed to bits by the riot that's caused by the Joker. And it gives off perfect haunted house vibes as well, and it makes you kind of feel like you're slightly nuts when you walk through certain areas, especially in the Scarecrow nightmare sequences when you're trying to figure out what's real and what's not. What is real? How do you define real? I know, totally separate franchise, but I couldn't help it. At the end of the day, although it's not my favorite, Batman Arkham Asylum is a solid start to the Batman Arkham series, and knowing how certain things played out in the long run, it actually hits a little bit differently. If it was only a standalone game, I think it would have been perfectly fine on its own. But like I said, knowing how certain plot points are paid off in the long run, it makes the experience somewhat better. If I had to rank this somewhere in the spectrum of best comic book video games, it'd be somewhere close, maybe even in the top 10. Might do a ranking of that one day, but we'll see. Great voice acting, good character moments, great game design, minus a couple of glitches and some odd gameplay mechanics. Everything about this game is a solid 10 out of 10. So those are my thoughts on Batman Arkham Asylum. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment below and tell me what your thoughts are on this game if you played it. Stay tuned for more videos coming your way soon, and as always, see you in the next one.